Hey everyone, today we're diving deep into Atari's journey, from Pong to the modern VCS, to see how they changed gaming forever. Let's start at the very beginning. It all began in 1972, when Atari released Pong, a simple yet revolutionary arcade game that became a cultural phenomenon. That moment didn't just launch a company, it helped create the home video game industry itself. From wooden consoles and pixelated classics to modern reboots, Atari's story is one of bold ideas, tough competition, and lasting influence. So let's get into the video. What started as a simple table tennis simulation quickly became a national obsession. As demand surged, Atari made the bold move to bring Pong into the home. In 1975, they introduced Home Pong, packaged in a chunky woodgrain console and priced at around $100, a significant cost for the time. But that didn't stop it from becoming a hit. By 1977, roughly 150,000 units had been sold. It was the first time families could play video games in their living rooms, and people couldn't get enough of it. The simplicity of the game was its strength. With just a knob and a screen, it was intuitive, immediate, and addictively fun. Pong didn't need flashy graphics or deep mechanics, it introduced a brand new way to interact with the television. But of course, it had its limitations. As impressive as it was, Home Pong only played one game. There were no cartridges, no expansions, and no updates. What you bought was what you got. For early adopters, that didn't matter, it was the future in a box. Home Pong wasn't just a novelty, it was the beginning of the home console era. It proved that video games weren't just for arcades, they belonged in every household. That success set the stage for something much bigger. Atari wasn't content with just one game, they wanted to build a platform, and that's exactly what they did next. Next up, the legendary Atari VCS, later renamed the 2600. Released in 1977 at a launch price of $199, it marked a turning point in home gaming. Unlike Pong, which was limited to a single experience, the VCS featured removable cartridges, an innovation that meant one console could play dozens, even hundreds of games. When Space Invaders was ported to the system, it changed everything. It became the first video game to sell over 1 million copies and directly boosted console sales. By 1984, the Atari 2600 had sold an estimated 30 million units, making it one of the most successful consoles of all time. Its rivals like ColecoVision and Intellivision never came close to matching its reach. In 1982, for example, Atari held 58% of the market, compared to Coleco's 17%. The 2600's success came from more than just hardware. It sparked the rise of third-party development and opened the door to home versions of arcade hits like Missile Command, Frogger, and Asteroids. Titles like Pitfall pushed platforming forward, and Pac-Man, though infamous for its poor quality, still sold nearly 8 million copies. But there were problems. As the market became flooded with low-quality games, including rushed ports and unlicensed titles, player confidence declined. The lack of oversight contributed directly to the 1983 video game crash. Even with its flaws, the Atari 2600 wasn't just a success. It was the system that established home gaming as a mainstream form of entertainment and laid the foundation for everything that followed. But with momentum on their side, Atari wasn't slowing down. They set their sights on taking console gaming even closer to the arcade experience. That ambition brought us their next major release. And then Atari pushed harder. The 5200, launched in 1982 at a price of $269, aimed to take the home console experience closer to arcade standards. It featured significantly improved graphics and a new analog joystick that promised precision and realism. On paper, it was a clear upgrade over the 2600. However, in practice, the 5200 struggled to deliver. The analog controllers, while innovative, were prone to failure, and many users reported reliability issues early on. More importantly, the system lacked backward compatibility with Atari 2600 games, an oversight that left many longtime users hesitant to switch. With a high launch price and strong competition from ColecoVision and Intellivision, the 5200 faced an uphill battle. Despite offering solid arcade ports like Galaga, Pole Position, and Centipede, it sold only about 1 million units before being discontinued in 1984. In the end, the 5200 was a technical step forward, but its design missteps and limited software support kept it from achieving the success Atari had hoped for. Despite the setback, Atari wasn't ready to bow out. They regrouped, refined their strategy, and made one more big push into the console space. Fast forward 4 years, Atari introduced the 7800 in 1986 at a launch price of $139, designed to challenge the market leaders, the Nintendo Entertainment System and the Sega Master System. The 7800 offered backward compatibility with the entire 2600 library and delivered noticeably sharper graphics. On paper, it had all the right ingredients. Familiar classics like Miss Pac-Man, innovative sequels such as Galaga 88, and new entries like Food Fight showed off the hardware's potential. Yet the 7800 was hampered by a delayed release. Nintendo had already captured gamers' attention, and by almost non-existent marketing support. In the end, Atari sold roughly 3.7 million units. While that figure demonstrated a solid fan base, it fell far short of its rival's momentum. The 7800 stands as a testament to what might have been. A capable, well-priced console that, despite its strengths, could not overcome the market dominance of Nintendo and Sega. Still determined, Atari decided to take an even bolder leap, promising the most powerful home console the world had ever seen. In November 1993, Atari proclaimed the Jaguar the world's first 64-bit home console, asking $249 for what promised cutting-edge performance. Early ports of Doom, Alien vs. Predator, and the legendary Tempest 2000 showcased its raw power and sparked genuine excitement. Yet beneath the marketing boldness, the Jaguar suffered from a meager launch library, only about 70 titles, confusing hardware architecture that frustrated developers, and almost no third-party support. By the end of 1994, fewer than 250,000 units had been sold. Meanwhile, Sega was fielding the Genesis and the new Saturn, Nintendo's Super NES remained a force, and Sony's PlayStation arrived in 1995 to redefine the market. Atari's final console of the 1990s failed to gain traction, leaving the Jaguar remembered today more as a cult curiosity than a commercial success. After the Jaguar, Atari stepped back from the console's spotlight. But they weren't gone. They were watching, waiting, and eventually returned with something entirely different. Fast forward to the mid-2000s, when Atari embraced nostalgia with its Flashback series. Priced between $50 and $100 depending on the bundle, these compact consoles came preloaded with anywhere from 20 to 100 of Atari's most beloved titles, no cartridges required. Early Flashback units used basic emulation, drawing some criticism for graphical glitches and occasional lag. Later editions addressed these issues, adding HDMI output and more accurate emulation. Across all models, the series has sold several million units, proving there was strong demand for retro gaming. Atari's Flashback faced new competition in the retro market. Nintendo's NES Classic and Sega's Genesis Mini both launched in the 2010s, and even Sony released a PlayStation Classic. Yet Atari held its own by offering the purest slice of the 1970s and 80s arcade era. Classic games like Pitfall, River Raid, Adventure, and Missile Command transported players back to the golden age of home consoles. While Flashback devices did not support software expansion, their plug-and-play simplicity made them an instant favorite among collectors and casual gamers alike. With the Flashback series, Atari not only honored its pioneering legacy, but also demonstrated the enduring appeal of its original library. The success of these nostalgia machines helped cement the market for dedicated retro consoles and reminded everyone that sometimes the classics never go out of style. With the retro revival in full swing, Atari saw a new opportunity to create a system that could bridge the past and the future. That vision became the modern Atari VCS. In 2018, Atari returned with the VCS, a hybrid console PC designed to appeal to both retro enthusiasts and modern gamers. The starter edition launched at $299, while collector's editions reached $399. Beneath its clean lines and wooden accents lies PC-class hardware powered by an AMD Ryzen processor, running a customized Lynx OS with HDMI output and an optional modular joystick. The VCS can stream apps, play classic Atari titles, and even run Steam in beta, positioning itself as a versatile living room device. Despite its impressive specifications, the VCS occupies a niche market. Sales remain modest. Atari has not disclosed numbers, and it faces competition from dedicated retro plugs, micro consoles like the Steam Deck, and traditional PCs. Critics praise its open platform and DRM-free ethos, but point to a limited exclusive library, a steep price point, and delays in delivering promised features. As of 2025, the VCS has yet to produce a must-own title, but it continues to receive updates and attract a small yet dedicated community. In a landscape dominated by powerhouse consoles and PCs, the Atari VCS stands out as a bold experiment in blending nostalgia with modern functionality, proof that Atari still dares to redefine gaming's boundaries. Atari's story didn't end with consoles. In 2020, the company announced plans to build a series of immersive Atari-branded hotels, starting in Phoenix, with additional locations proposed in Las Vegas, Denver, Chicago, and even internationally in places like Dubai and Spain. These hotels were envisioned as entertainment hubs, blending virtual and augmented reality to deliver a gaming experience beyond the screen. That same year, Atari also launched its own cryptocurrency, Atari Token, through a partnership with the ICICB Group, aiming to expand into digital casinos and blockchain ventures. But by 2022, that partnership was officially terminated, signaling a shift away from speculative ventures and back toward Atari's roots. Under the leadership of new CEO Wade Rosen, Atari has refocused its strategy on what it's best known for: retro gaming. Classic franchises are being revived, and in 2024, Atari announced a return to the arcade scene, teaming up with coin-op manufacturer Allen One to bring its recharged titles to physical cabinets, its first arcade push in 25 years. From the simple sound of Pong in the 1970s to digital tokens and VR hotels in the 2020s, Atari has constantly tried to reinvent itself. Through every success, setback, and comeback, one thing is clear: few names in gaming carry the legacy, nostalgia, and ambition of Atari.